Right, so let me show you how we get started. This is the die set. So if I open this up and show you everything that you get inside here, you can see these are the lapels for the two different sides. You've also got the tie. This is the collar that you're going to work from. You also get this die, which is going to do the side panel. That's the one that I had stuck in the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this onto the side and I'm just going to stick it down here. Now, can you see? This is the score line. This is your cut line. So if you wanted it to be longer, all you would do is not cut past the cut line. So only cut and then stop and then do your own bit of cutting, if that makes sense. So I'm going to stick this down with a little bit of tape. I'm going to pop my, oh, Joe's come straight in there with the envelope maker. We will, after we finish the card, I'll do you a matching envelope maker as well, okay? So base cutting plate, clear cutting plate, magnetic shim and your top plate, okay? So you're going to cut all the way through, but because I've only got that die at the top edge, if we want, I could cut part way. Once I fit there, once I've heard it cut, I mean, to be honest, I might as well just wait the extra 2 or 3 seconds for it to come through, but I could pause and reverse it if I wanted. So there's one side and it's going to cut by, Craigie, you're sticky today, tape, right? So there's our tape off. Come on, lift off, there we go. So there's the first side off. And then what you do, ready for this bit? You flip this over. So then we cut at the other side. So can you see exactly the same? That's how you do, instead of having to have one for the left and one for the right, you've just got one and then you're going to flip it over and it's still going to cut perfect. So I'm going to do exactly the same and send it over.
So
now,
do you always start with the same size piece of cardstock, or do you change it up depending on what you want?
no, so I think it's when you were out getting the envelope maker, I was explaining that. You've got, basically, you cut your card as long as you want the cardstock to be. And if you don't want, this has got a bottom cutting edge on, just put your die in, oh, we're stuck in there. Just put your die in this way and stop it part way through here. So if you stop it there, your card could be as long as you want.
Ah,
right?
Makes sense.
So can you see this? I'm just going to neaten it off there where I haven't got my die quite perfectly lined up. And you can see how that makes the base. And what you should be always doing is folding and using your little scoring tool to fold and burnish the crease lines both ways. All right, so it can go both ways. So don't worry about the fact that your score line's only on one side, because your score line could go onto both sides. So that's giving us the base part of the card. Then what you do, Joe, and you see, so we're going to stick this, the top bits on. We need to create each of the 2 side panels. So I've got a bit of card and I'm using the let's have a look. I'm using the slightly textured card, the watercolour. I've cut it to the same depth, right? So what you do is you take that, we're going to take our die and pop it on the side again. So this is going to stick on top of that when we get there. So that goes onto the side. Then I'm going to get my lapel. Now with the lapel, you do have a left and a right, okay? So can you see your lapel then fits across like this? So you can see where that's the bit that you want to understand as it was.
I could do with a couple extra of those. My Mr. over here is he's had a bit of a lapel incident. I think he must have had lipstick on his collar when he got home. And
Ba-dum-bum. How long have you been thinking about that one? How long have you been waiting?
It just came to me right then. Yeah, I know, you know.
Right, so going to pop this on, pop this through again, and you'll see how the side works. And basically, every one of the cards is this principle. Now, if you wanted to do just a T-shirt, you don't need to create the collar one. You're just going to do a T-shirt like this. And we've got some samples made with just the T-shirty one on. Let's have a look. If I take that off, take this. So can you see? It's cut the corner, Joe, right? And if I just, oh, there I am, right again. Right, you got it? It's because I'm waiting for one of you to answer us eventually, you know, through the TV. Then that lapel folds backwards, can you see? So what's going to happen is that is going to stick onto there and our lapel is going to fall backwards. And what I'm going to do is, just to make it look a little bit more like an actual doctor's, like a doctor's jacket, I'm going to add a little bit of ink around the outsides, Joe. Yeah. What I did, the only bit that you've seen me do, I've done the left-hand side, and then I'm going to do the right-hand side. So you do the right-hand side, by the way, in exactly the same way. You're going to cut the left-hand side, and then you can either, can you see they're actually the same thing? You could either do the same again, cut the same thing twice, and just flip it over, or you've got that option if you wanted to cut both lapels at once, you've got the other side lapel on there as well, okay? So there is my other side lapel, so that we've got the two matching each other, and then I've done it, you can either do it so that they meet in the middle, depending on how big you cut your cardstock, or so that they cross in the middle and put a couple of buttons on. So whatever you prefer to do. So I'll pop that to one side, and now we're going to do the little shirt to go on the inside, and that's where you're going to use this jacket, this die here. So I know it looks really complicated, however, all will become clear in just a second. This goes on the top. And what I've done is I've cut the piece to exactly the same size. You don't have to if you want to do yours slightly different, make it bigger or whatever. And I'm going to hold this in place. I'm going to just de-tack my tape a little bit, because this is all going to stay, this is going to cut away at the top. But I want to make sure that tape comes off easy. Right, can you see how this has come here then? Now, what we're going to do, so just trim that to the right size. These are the top parts of his collar. So this folds down both sides, and you can see that forms that lovely collar. So if we want, you can either stick it down or you can leave them up. What I think I'll do is, I do have some, I don't know where, here it is, my 3D glue gel. When we put this in the card, I will put it together with the 3D glue gel. So let's have a little look. Start and put this all together. Get my base card first. Pop this on the inside. Oh, it's just a little bit too... Oh, that's right, because I'd cut mine. Here's the one that I'd cut ready, just in case. There it is. Make sure I use the right one, because I've just cut everything perfectly to size before we've started. So give this a nice fold. So I'm going to pop this in, and then also remember you've got all of those stamps. So if you wanted to personalise it with any of the stamps, this essentially would become the inside of your card. Or you could do something really clever. What you could do is you could have it so that his shirt lifted up. So you could stick it there, and you could put the details underneath, Joe, with the sentiment underneath there. Oh. So whatever you prefer. Right, I'm going to put my two side panels on, Joe. So this is just going to go. Can you see? You only put tape on the side here, and then that lines up perfectly over top of here. So there is my right-hand side. Going to open up.
Tell you what, your roots are looking great now, Sarah.
Hey, do they look good? Oh, I tell
Check
you
them
what.
out.
Yeah.
You sorted those right out.
Sorted them right out, didn't I? Yes, I did go a little bit over the top, and at the weekend they were starting to look a bit ginger. Yeah, I was on FaceTime with my sister, and she was like, "Oh my life, what have you done to your hair? Can you undo it? Can you undo it?" I said, "Oh, it'll be fine, I'll wash it." It's because I got another product as well, so I then started trying to double layer two products on top of each other. Turns out that was a little bit overkill, so we're not doing that anymore. We're just sticking with the one. So can you see I've just done the little tie there? And I'm going to do the tie. I'm liking it being very, very 3D. So what I'm doing is I'm doing some little globules of 3D glue gel, and I'm using my pokey tool just to accurately position them in place. And you see, so we just get it absolutely perfect, so that when we take this off, it's just going to sit on there as like a nice little 3D tie. Looks like a very formal, official tie, this, doesn't it? Let's have a look. I'm just going to stick this under here. Yeah, it would just be underneath his collar, wouldn't it? There we go. You see, it's just the perfect size. And then you've got loads of extra little pieces of die. So can you see all these little extras? As well as the tie, by the way, we've got the tie or the dicky bow. So you could make the dicky bow, which, just so that you can see what it looks like, there's the difference if you wanted to do the dicky bow. There's the tie, done in a different colour. But you see all these little accessories, the extras. Let me show you how to do those. So again, you are just, here it is. You could take either the pocket, well, they're basically two different types of pockets. And all these little dies, by the way, fit beautifully well through your Gemini Mini. So all I'm doing is I'm taking these, and I'm going to try and do one of each of the two types of pockets. Oh, I could fit a couple on here. I've got loads of space. Just be very careful, by the way, that your dies don't cross each other though when they're in the machine, because if you do, that's how you end up damaging it. I'm just gonna doubly make sure. Practice what I preach, right? You don't want them dies to cross each other, because that's how your dies will get damaged. It's all right trying to be super efficient, but it's not worth it if you're going to damage the dies. Right, here is my base card. All you need to do now is, if I get, oh, I don't think I do have me black, do you know, I've been using me black pen, here it is, and I've brought it ready. All you would need to do to kind of finish it off, and you see, is it just needs some little dashes around the outside, just to finish that off nicely all the way along, some little stitch lines. I'm not very good at doing them under pressure on here. I'm fine when I'm taking my time and doing them at home. But it just finishes it off really, really nicely. Oh, and of course, don't forget, I did just go and I managed to find this just on the internet. Just a nice little, I just thought that really finished it off a little bit, Joe, don't you think?
Looks great.
Yeah, and that's just like a little bonus extra that I found somewhere. So there we go, and I'm just going to position that in place. And it just shows you, hopefully, because what I was hoping is it might just inspire people to think of different ways they can use these dies, how to kind of think outside the box a little bit. Isn't that lovely? I'll bring my one in that I finished here. All it's got extra is I've gone all the way around all of the outside pieces and put some little buttons on there as well. And that is my finished little doctor's card. But once you know how to do those side lapels, you can just put it together however you want. You know, whether you do a little bit of embossing on the panels on the front, whether you want to actually put some fabric, you could make this a denim jacket, cut into a little bit of denim. They are brilliant for that. All of the dies are a little bit thicker than regular. They're not as thick as a multimedia die, but they're a little bit thicker than a regular die to allow it to cut through either multiple pieces of card or for you to be able to cut through different fabrics to stick on the front.